There's a lot more relevant topics to talk about, to be honest, but I want to quickly touch on this Kate Middleton drama that's happening right now all over the internet. Now, if you haven't heard, basically she released a video, or the royal family, the palace released a video with her sitting on a bench and saying that she has cancer. And so you can go watch this. This is basically all over the news, and this is what they put out. Now, quickly, people felt bad, right? People were like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And they kind of quickly, came to, in some sense, their senses and to say, hey, sorry with the conspiracies and all that stuff. But then shortly afterwards, people looked at this video in an unsettling way and said, okay, there's something wrong with what's going on here. A lot of people began to look at this and sort of dissect it and say, okay, there's something strange going on here, because this looks a lot like the deepfake AI stuff that we saw last year and even up to now. Now, a lot of it has gone quiet, but if you remember the viral Tom Cruise stuff, as well as even with the royal family, let's take a look at a few of these things. Here is a video of the Queen basically saying something, but obviously it's not her. She's talking and dancing and doing all these things. You can watch this yourself. They made Queen Elizabeth do these things, and it's very crazy. Watch this guy remind you about what happened just last year.
This is from July 2023. Watch this video.
It's Deepfake Friday, and we're talking to an innovative company that can replicate any human's face, voice, and personality through an algorithmic process in a matter of minutes. Don't believe me? Well, I'm not real. I'm a Brian Sullivan digital double, created by a startup called Brask, using images and video of the real Brian to compile what's called a mask. I'm being replicated by a stand-in actor to read this monologue, and then my appearance and voice is changed using artificial intelligence. So now that I've got your attention, let's send it back to the real Brian Sullivan as we dive deeper into this revolutionary technology. I have not seen that before that. They told me I could not look at it, just kind of wear the same thing. That was amazing, a little terrifying. I'm shocked at how handsome I actually am, but other than that.
And there are tons of people talking about comparing previous videos that basically you use as a baseline, and then you create this new video, and other people making some accusations about her, where she is, her being executed, and various other things. And people all over TikTok, all over social media, posting about this. It's going very viral. Let's listen to a couple more of these.
I'm so scared that she got Princess Diana, and I really hope that I'm wrong.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery.
This looks like AI to me. I've been getting that uncanny valley feeling every time I watch this, and a lot of people are. The elites can deepfake anything these days. They have the best technology imaginable for this kind of stuff. And aside from that video feeling strange all on its own, this is a promotional video that they put out 7 years ago.
Mental health has been an incredibly tough physical.
Same sweater, same hairstyle, same setting. Even the weather is exactly the same. They could so easily create this from that. I also thought it was strange that she was sitting there alone for the video instead of being accompanied by her husband. Apparently AI works way better if there's one subject in the video, which is why a lot of the deepfakes you see are just one person sitting there talking.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not.
This is a deepfake that someone was able to make imposing Meghan Markle's face on the video.
This, of course, came as a huge shock. And William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately.
Obviously, the royals have much better technology than us normies have. Just the way they've handled the whole thing with her disappearance has been very strange. I pray that I'm wrong and that she's still here with us.
So obviously there is a lot of discussion. This is one of just tens of thousands of videos because, the drama around the royal family, like tabloid type Hollywood stuff, similar nature where a lot of the general population is talking about this. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, as you know, on this channel, we talk a lot about what's going on in the world and the current times. But what you've got to realize is that going into the end times, the Bible talks about that people will be deceived and that there will be a false messiah coming and saying all sorts of things, and people will be moved by signs and wonders, and they will be deceived like no other. And so what could it be that could help contribute to this? Advancements in technology that allow you to see something that you don't think is real. Project Bluebeam comes to mind and all of this AI deep fake stuff. And so you got to realize that people are not stupid, right? And yes, there are stupid people. But what I'm saying is that smart guys, people that try their best to interpret society, they're not sitting there with a low IQ. They're being deceived because there are things out there that you can't, when you look at it, there will be arguments between people to say, okay, is this real or is this not real? You're already seeing it with Photoshop, CGI, certain movies. You don't know what's real and what's not. What takes, what clips, what photos are real and what is not. So if they have this kind of technology and we can already access it, then the question becomes, and again, I'm not making accusations here in terms of if this is real or not. I'm just reporting to you what the general consensus or the topic that's being discussed is, because it's fairly divided right now. And people are saying, well, what are you doing right now? Because obviously she's going through cancer and you're poking at this stuff. Like, how could you? How could you? But this is how they get you. Just like with the Ukraine stuff, just like with everything happening with terrible things like clips of people dying and all that stuff, people focus on the tragedy. They focus on leave them alone, let them be, and all this stuff. Why would you bring up conspiracy and all that stuff? This is how they want you divided. And from the perspective of, yes, you need to give them some space and let them be. But if that thing in and of itself is not real to begin with, then you have to fundamentally question the whole story, right? And so this is why there's such a divide, and how going into the future, you need to be very careful of what is coming. Because if this is 2024 right now, and we've come this far in a couple of years, ChatGPT, Midjourney with the AI generation DALL-E, all these AI programs that are coming, and they're creating very real, very believable photos and images, very photorealistic things. And now with AI video coming out, you don't know what's going to be what, right? It all looks like it has some great cinematic sort of bokeh effect behind it, so that you look at it and you think this is real. And so I'm saying this because people are arguing, but yet they are learning, they're growing, their heightened senses are allowing people, the normies, to question things. And so you sitting there thinking that, oh, did you ever think it was going to be cancer? Haha, you were so stupid about that. But you have to take a step back and ask yourself, does she actually have cancer? Was this actually a real story? Everything we are listening to and hearing right now, I've always said before, take a step back, first of all, and say, is it totally fake? Is it conjured up such that even if it's from a quote unquote credible source, even with all of the news that we've seen the last 6 years, what have we learned? We've seen the Hunter Biden laptop, election interference and manipulation. We've seen the Mueller investigation. We've seen all of the attacks on Trump. We've seen so many things come out that naturally we are all questioning our perception of reality. So I'm saying this because be very careful as we approach the next few years and how they're going to present a false sort of rapture. I've said this before, but they're going to present a lot of smokescreen. They're going to set up a lot of things for just various events, right? And I talked about the Bluebeam stuff, but there's so much more that's behind it. People talking about Hawaii, the attacks there, and so many other things. But the point here is that you got to be awake and you've got to desire discernment through the Holy Spirit. Now, I'm not saying that we're all going to know precisely what's fake and what's not, but you've got to hope that we have good leaders that come up and somehow we either regulate or something is there for which we can develop technology such that we can pass this through some filter or something else for which we can make a choice or we can discern better. Same with how the food industry is evolving. You have to label things organic, non-GMO. You have to put bioengineering on it. It's changing, but we also have to work with what is developing as well. And so, again, I'm not here to say like, oh, everything is fake and you have to question and doubt everything. I'm not saying those things. What I'm saying is that some things, even if you don't like the person, even if you don't follow whoever it is, it could be true. It could also be fake. So we have to have heightened discernment in this hour, and you have to desire for truth. You have to desire and have an inquisitive, curious mind to say, okay, like, can we deep dive into this and ask some questions and really have an objective, unbiased point of view when approaching this topic? Because I want to know the truth. I want to find out what it is. I don't want to have bias and say, oh, Putin and those guys, oh, Trump, I hate that guy, blah, blah, blah. Everything he says is a lie and I just can't stand him. If you have that kind of bias, then you're not going to get anywhere in life in the sense that you can discern right from wrong, your left hand from your right hand. So I'm saying this because for many of us, we're being confused, intentionally deceived by Satan, by the demonic forces that want to control us right now. So be alert, be awake, and more is happening, and more is going to be exposed. But whatever is happening, whether they are being tried at Gitmo and other crazy things are happening, whatever it is, we've got to keep praying. We have to allow people to wake up on their own, because a lot of these guys, they're just finding out, like, oh my goodness, through something like royal family drama or Hollywood drama, their favorite celebrity, these Nickelodeon documentaries that are coming out, the Disney stuff, the Hollywood stuff, all of this stuff in its own like realm is instilling people to shake themselves awake, to question things and to see what else is going on. If we can see this coming out, what else is behind the curtain? Because as I've said before, many of us have said, we're in a season of exposure. Whatever is hidden will be brought to light. And God is doing this so that he can get us back to him. We can repent. We can tear down our modern day Asherah poles, our statues of Baal, and get back to the Lord so that we can bring in a harvest of souls. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.